Hello. Hi. Lise, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. I guess I was like, hello.
I'm going to close out some of my windows.
If people, as they come in, we're going to use the chat a lot. If people could just write their names and their Instagram handles. Um,
And if you have any questions that you wanted to ask today, that would be great. We'll be answering all the questions at the end.
All right. And I am going to go ahead and get started. I want to say welcome to everybody. I want to introduce the Sweet Kindred. They specialize in visual branding through social media and events. And we have co-founders Casey Bloom and Lisa Callahan. Together they offer over 20 years of combined experience in brand and social media strategy. So welcome, Casey and Lisa. I'm going to turn it over to you. You can tell us a little bit about yourselves and we'll get started.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for being here this morning. Just as people filter in again, we have a lot of interactive activities throughout this. We're going to be Lisa's going to be sharing her screen in a second, and we're going to be using Google Slides. So we're going to use the chat a lot. If you have questions throughout, just throw them in the chat, and we'll get to everything. Yeah, Lisa, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Perfect. Okay, so let me know when everyone, or Case, let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, Kathy, if you want to stop sharing, for some reason oh, there we go. Let's see.
Okay, it says you started sharing. I just saw my face in giants.
There we go.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to be talking today about visual branding, and specifically visual branding applies to everything, to your website, to your business cards, to your office, to if you have uniforms. Today we're going to be talking specifically about your social media and Instagram. And we're first going to go through why Instagram is important and how it's different from something like a Facebook, but why it matters to your business. We're going to go through what exactly visual branding is. And then we're going to do an activity where we look at a couple of Instagram accounts and kind of show, again, the impact of visual branding. We're going to go through some of what we call our top Insta sins, which are some of the things that we see businesses doing that are actually working against them. And then we'll go through a Q&A. So just some quick stats on Instagram. There's over 1 billion unique users on Instagram every month. So that's different people using Instagram, and that's growing all the time. It's the fastest growing platform for businesses. 200 million Instagram users visit at least one business account daily. And a third of the most Instagram stories that are viewed are from businesses. 75.3% of US businesses are going to be using Instagram in 2020. And again, that's just growing. 62% of Instagram users said they'd become more interested in a brand or a product after seeing it in stories. And 130 million Instagram users tap on shopping posts each month, which, I mean, those are ad clicks essentially. And then 70% of shopping enthusiasts turn to Instagram for product discovery. And that number is actually below 20% for Facebook.
So with all that in mind, we're going to go through, and this next little activity, the image that I'm showing you is basically a screenshot of an Instagram profile. So if you go to your profile, we were taking Instagram screenshots. And so when we say grid, that's what we're referring to. So the next slide, if you guys just want to write in chat, who do you think the company is? And yeah, just jot that down in chat.
Yeah, so right away, we're showing you this is an Instagram profile. What business do you think this is? And if you just want to answer it and throw it in the chat, Coca-Cola, we say.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. And this is really impactful, and we wanted to show you this example because, I mean, even though they're one of the biggest brands, they've remained consistent. And so visual branding is really who your company is and how it's perceived. And it's how easily recognizable a brand is and how you as a consumer feel when you look at it. And your visual branding is really an exact reflection of your company. And it's your point of view. It's done through storytelling, invoking a feeling through colors and fonts. And that's really how you knew that this was Coca-Cola. They've consistently used the same, the red, the black, their fonts, the use of the bottle caps, the way that the bottle is shaped. And so this is why it's so important. And now we might not all have as big of a brand as Coca-Cola, but we can take what they do and the things that they do right and apply them to our companies. And, visual branding, it really offers a window into who your company is, and people support brands because of great products and experiences. But what really ignites customer loyalty is a connection. And so, as Casey mentioned earlier, we are just focusing on Instagram today. I think, it's a hugely popular social media platform, and people really use it as a business card these days. But visual branding also is all encompassing. It's your website, it's any marketing collateral, it's any other social media platform that you use. So with that said, Casey will now introduce a little activity that we're going to show you.
Mm-hmm.
So Casey, it's all yours.
All right, so we're going to go through and we're going to do this same activity with another business, one that is not a Coca-Cola, and just ask a couple of questions and have you just throw them the answers in the chat. And again, this is really about that 2-second gut response. So there's no right or wrong answers. It's just what you think immediately when you look at this. These are real businesses that are selling a product or service. So it's not any like influencers or anything like that. They're all selling a product or service. And if you happen to know what the actual business is, just don't say the business name. We're not going to tell you what the name of the business is. We will tell you eventually what the product or service is that they sell. Okay. All right, let's roll. Okay, so here we go. So first of all, we look at this grid right here and just let me know how this makes you feel when you look at it. What is your first response to this? And then I'll read those. I see calm, cotton candy, Hallmark, feminine. Okay, great. Morning. Good. Okay. Are there things that you like about it? Okay, I also see working with outreach for Nazareth Orphanage. Cheerful, soft, soothing. Very cheerful. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything that you don't like about it? Too wordy. You don't like pink. Too pink, yes. Too pink. Okay. Bottom left. Okay, that picture in the bottom left. Okay. Who is their customer? Okay, someone says they like the black and white. Okay. Women, women. Is there anything more specific, just women generally, or is there anything that would point you in a direction besides just women generally? Women entrepreneurs, okay. Okay. What is their price point? Women doing internships. Someone says it's hard to tell. Coffee drinkers are their customer, okay. Is their price point high? Would you just call it luxury? Would you say they're a low end, like an economy, or would you say they're somewhere in the middle? Medium. Okay. We're also saying it's aspirational. Okay, small, medium business. It's hard to tell, but medium. Okay.
Okay.
So our final question is, what does this business do? I don't know. Bake stuff? Coaching? Question mark. Motivational. Okay. They help Monday blues. They give advice. Okay. Co-working space or coffee shop. Okay, great. So now I'm going to big reveal to you guys. This is actually a social media and a marketing agency. It's a woman-owned small business. Their clients and who their customer is graphic designers, tech startups, personal trainers, and luxury boutique hotels. So this is a great example of how something at first glance, this is an Instagram, this is a real business, and they're a marketing agency, right? Can send the wrong message through their visual branding. The person who they're looking for, a personal trainer, can look at this and say, oh, like that's really pink, or that looks really, we heard pink, we heard feminine, we heard coffee shop or bakery. You know, personal trainer might not want donuts all over, you know, that's not really what they're looking for. But a lot of times what's really challenging about things like Instagram grids is that something might on the surface look nice at a glance, but in reality, you're not targeting your audience correctly, or you're sending a message that's actually confusing, or you know, telling your customers, actually, I'm not the right business for you. So we're going to go ahead and show you an example of a different grid.
Yes, thank you, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with the same, like we did with that one, we're going to kind of go through another example. So, in case if you could just read out the comments,
Yes, yeah.
since I can't see them. So, how does this one make you feel?
Okay, so motivated, professional. Professional, we see professional, a woman, organized, empowered. Right, okay, so our big ones are professional, organized, empowered.
Okay, great. And what do you like about this?
The neutral colors. It's clean, a clean look. The font is easier to read than the other one. It's soft.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you dislike?
I'm assuming it says consistent. I would assume that's the like, but it could be dislike. I've not seen any dislikes so far.
Okay. All right. Well, then.
Too many squares is what somebody says.
Too many. Say that again.
Too many squares.
Okay.
Somebody says that they're not sure what they do.
Okay. Who do you think their customer?
Oh, and so it says the third right, third down. Why isn't a business's name included? Okay, so I'll stop and say we purposely chose blocks that didn't have business name in it. Just as an overarching thing for both accounts. Okay, their customer is woman accountants, female accountants. Okay.
What do you think their price point is? So medium, high, low?
I see medium. Their customer is women business owners, medium.
All right. And the last
Okay,
one?
mediums across the board. Yeah. What does this business do? We also see small business women for.
Okay.
Accounting, bookkeeping, accounting. Okay, so basically across the board, we see accounting and bookkeeping.
Okay, well, the big reveal is yes, you guys are right. They're an accountant company for women-owned small businesses, and their clients include small businesses, women in finance, and she also has a podcast. And now when you look at both of these side by side, the reason why this is so important is you knew instantly what the company on the right did versus what the company on the left did. And it's important to know people's behavior on Instagram. You know, if you take a typical consumer, we're on Instagram, we're scrolling. Maybe we'll go to the explore feed and we see something that we like or a hashtag, and the image is great, it's hilarious, or maybe it's something very specific that we were looking for. So no matter what the reason is behind that, there's really like a pivotal moment. And so you go, as a consumer, you go to the person's or the company's Instagram profile, and you're making all of these decisions rapid fire. I mean, it's quick and it's done in a matter of seconds. And you're thinking to yourself, is this a type of account that I'm looking for? Do I like it? Is it aesthetically pleasing? You know, am I going to stay on this profile? Am I going to follow them? Am I going to actually click into one of their posts and read the caption? And so this is very important because it's done in a matter of seconds. And so having a well-crafted Instagram grid / profile, it doesn't necessarily get more people to discover your page. That's done in another way. But what it does do is it increases the percentage of people that are discovering you to convert them into new followers. And that's why it's so important. If you, and in some of our Instagram sins that we go through, you'll notice that if you're looking at something that's a little bit chaotic or something that you don't really know exactly what, you know, they do, well, you're just going to click the back button and you're going to continue scrolling, you know, on something else. And so there's really a number of things that can detract a brand or a company from, you know, telling their stories. And we call these Instasins. And so we're going to go through a couple of them right now. And our first Instagram sin is, thou shalt not be muddled or send mixed messages. Now, if I was going to this person's account and I'm looking, I'm reading, trying to read, you know, what it is that each of these posts say, I don't really know what this company does. There's a cartoon. There is a woman in the picture, so maybe it is a woman-owned business. There's some quotes there, but realistically, I don't really know what it is that they do. And so if I go to the opposite of that, is thou shall have a clear audience. So this account, I know exactly what they do. It looks like they're a shop. They sell maybe tarot cards and candles and crystals and things of that nature. And what is interesting is both of these accounts do the exact same thing and have the exact same audience. And when you look at them side by side, you can see there's a vast difference in who is actually having a very clear branding that is directed towards their audience and who is not. And so Casey will let us know our next sin.
So our next sin, and this is a big one, we see this a lot, is mix business with pleasure. And you see right here, this is an account that is a combination. You see that this is an esthetician, and it is mixed with photos of products that she sells, microblading clients, and then also pictures of her with her husband and traveling, and they're all kind of mixed together. A lot of times there are people who have a home business, or they take their business Instagram is just a personal Instagram that has shifted over time into a business Instagram. And what that does is it ends up sending a really mixed message to your customer about what it is that you do, who you're for, and a level of professionalism also. So I want to show an example of an account that does a really great job. Here we have an account that shares their personal life in a business-minded way. It's really important, you know, like Lisa said earlier, people connect with people. So you don't want an account to just be your straight products, especially for small businesses. People probably know you personally. So it's great to share your personal life, but you really want to do it in a way that still is thoughtful about your business. So here we have an example. This is a woman, there are two women who own a fitness company. And one of the co-founders announced she was pregnant, and how she did that, if you look at the bottom row in the middle, she announced she was pregnant. She's wearing her brand colors. She does a fitness video specifically geared towards pregnant women. And what that does is, instead of limiting her audience by doing something just relating to her personal life, she does something that expands her audience to include women who are pregnant or women who recently had babies, without alienating her previous customers. And so if you look at the other account next to it, you can see there's a lot of opportunity to integrate your personal life. This esthetician could have waxed her husband's eyebrows and talked about male grooming. And so you can really be genuine in integrating your personal life, but always, always keeping your business in mind. And if you want to post pictures of you and your husband out or your travels, but just keep it on your personal account.
Exactly. Okay, so our next sin is sloppy or chaotic. So when I look at this, I immediately want to go off of the page. It is super busy. I don't really know what it is that they do. And it leads me to being very confused. I see a CBD workshop in the top row in the middle, but then I see a young girl on the left, and I see that it's a store. Maybe there's a storefront, but then I also see that it looks like there's, gatherings of women. Maybe they're doing a class. And so this is a really good example of, and let me just say, this is actually a high-end market that's in Orange County. And they don't portray that in a way that would make people want to follow them or even maybe go and see their store. And they do workshops after we dug around a little bit. But the most important thing with this is, because we don't know what they do and it is very chaotic, the human eye, we just have a tendency to get off of that page and we don't want to look at it. And so if you look at now on the other side of this, is you can create energy using colors and images. And now this is still chaotic, but if you notice, it's done in a way that I can tell exactly what they do and what they sell. And yes, I know that this is a very big company, Taco Bell, but what I like is that you can have one whole image, but then each separate post is on its own. But within each post, you know exactly what they're doing. They have food, or they have their logo. They have some of the other condiments that they sell. And so when you look at these two side by side, you can see that they are both very busy and fun and vibrant. But the one on the right really portrays a better message. And also, just as a caveat, the Taco Bell one, it is a big photo, and a lot of people I see doing this where they'll post, they want that whole image, they want basically 9 small photos to represent one big photo. And you have to be careful with that, because if you add in a 10th photo, then your whole grid gets disjointed. So just be careful and recognize when you're doing that.
Elise, I just want to read a couple. First of all, I'm very sorry that they started drilling outside, so I apologize for some of the construction noise. I just want to read that there were a couple of comments, people saying that the one on the right run images across squares so it's easier to read. And then someone was saying that the clutter gives them a headache. And yes. So I just wanted to let you know, because Lise can't see the chat with her screen sharing.
Yes, thank you. And it is, and we don't want, there are companies that are fun and they're vibrant and they have a lot of colors, and you can still do that. You just have to do it in a mindful way, and have each of your photo really represent something that, your brand that your company is selling or as a service. Okay, so our next sin.
Okay. So this one is thou shall not use too much text. So Instagram is a platform for images. Here we have an example of an account where it looks like they just took things that were used in other platforms, an email newsletter, a Facebook post, and then just went ahead and plopped it on their Instagram. And if you look at that, in order to read anything on there, I would have to click on the image and then zoom all the way in. And even then, I probably couldn't see what it says. It looks sloppy. It is not really getting their point across. And if you go ahead and show kind of the other side of the coin here, you can use keywords and meaningful images to get your point across. Less is more when it comes to words on Instagram. I think there's a misnomer that you can put everything in that body of a photo and that people are going to read all of it. They're not. Unfortunately, they're not. An eye-catching image with a couple of big important words or colors that symbolize something is going to make someone stop a lot more. So if you compare the two of these, essentially the goal of Instagram for businesses is to get people to stop and to go through to your website. So if you look, these are both people who are selling essentially services. The image on the right, I see, hashtag checklist. I can go, oh, great, I want to learn more about hashtags. I'm clicking on the picture, I'm clicking on their website, I'm hanging out, I'm reading their stuff, I'm potentially getting their services. The one on the left, I can spend 5 or 6 minutes looking at that and still not really know. And there's a much higher chance. Essentially, you have to assume that people are going to read as little as possible. And so you can have the information that is in those articles on the left on your website and then pull the key points from those and convert those into an image on your Instagram with a headline that is meaningful. And then that is what people will click on, and that is what will make people go. You have to assume that they're not going to read the full article on your Instagram. Essentially, Instagram is a platform that requires content made specifically for Instagram.
Very good. Okay. So this is our last sin. And this is forget your branding. So when I look at this grid, I don't really know. I kind of know what they do, but I'm still a little bit confused. And this is a great example of this is it I think that there's something in the beauty industry, but I also see essential oils, and then I see earrings. And the reason why and we see this a lot is you can have a say a salon, and this is actually a salon, and she also does eyelashes and microblading and sells all these other fun little uh, beauty stuff. But what isn't cohesive here is there I can tell that some of the images, say of the essential oils, those are reposts. They're not her images. And while that is a great tool to use, is reposting other people's content, because it does get them to look at your profile, you have to make sure that it fits in with your brand and that you're doing it correctly. And I also noticed that there's a mix of fonts and colors, and so it's not cohesive, and it doesn't represent who this brand is. And so on the other side, so when you look at this company, I noticed that the colors are all cohesive. You can see that it's the tans, the nudes, the grays, and the blues. And in every picture, even when it's not a graphic, they still stick to that color palette. So there's, the girl on the beach or the girl in the snow. And what's even more important that we really like is you can see that we took a snapshot of this Instagram grid during the holidays. And you can see there's the stockings that are in their brand's colors. There's New Year's, there's a little bottle of champagne. There's ornaments, there's the menorah. So it's really important that you remain consistent. And if you look at the two side by side, you can see, I know exactly the one on the right. They are a tanning company. And when I go into their store, it's literally what their Instagram looks like. I get a feel for what it is already. And so that's why it's really important to just make sure that you're remaining consistent. And you can definitely have, if we're around the holidays or if it's, of the summer or anything like that, you can still post images that might not be exactly what you're doing or selling, but it still represents your brand.
You know what I love the most, just like my personal opinion, it feels like you're at the beach.
Exactly. It ignites this feeling of you being at the beach, and guess who goes and gets bronzed or gets an airbrush is people who are going on vacation, or people who might, be in a bikini or be at a pool. And so they're just remaining consistent. It's a carefully crafted woven thread that they're doing.
Like, and you don't even realize that you're like, oh, like I feel like I'm at the beach. Like that's like
Exactly.
It's really masterful in making you feel a type of way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen so I can.
So there have been a bunch of questions throughout. Okay. One that I just got that I think kind of leans into what you just discussed, Lisa, is about reposting and just talking about kind of some of the when you repost somebody's photos, like okay, how that all works. Like, do you have to get permission? Do you have to, like, how that,
so that's a great question. And there are, it's a balance. There are some people that would love for anyone to repost their content because that is their own content on someone else's Instagram account. And now their audience has grown by the audience of the person reposting. And so you always want to give them credit. You always want to make sure that you're saying this is reposted. You tag who the account is that you're reposting. And if you are posting the only way that I've realized that reposting content can get a little troublesome is big brands posting other big brands. I don't see it so much for the smaller companies because social media is all about engaging and it is all about sharing. But I definitely have seen big companies get into trouble for using, say, a photographer's social media post. And if you are hesitant and you don't know, you can always direct message the company and say, hey, I love this. Would you mind if I reposted? To be on the safe side.
Okay, awesome. We also had a question about posting on Grid and then also stories. So somebody said, how do you post on both Grid and stories?
So for the Grid, what we like is it to be carefully crafted and to be on brand. And if you say you're out and about and you see something that you would like to share with your audience and with your customers, we say post that in a story because that goes away in 24 hours. It doesn't interfere with the branding or the message behind what your Instagram profile looks like, but it's a way to be fun. So stories are a great tool to be used as like the behind the scenes. That's why stories have skyrocketed, is they really gave a glimpse into big brands, kind of what they do that we don't see. And so that's what we do, the posting versus an Instagram story.
Okay, let's see here. I'm going to try to go back so we didn't miss any of the beginning ones. Okay. The age group of Instagram, I'll just say right now, it says how compared to TikTok. TikTok is like young teens is what it's most popular on.
Yeah, and TikTok is very different in the sense of marketing and branding. TikTok it's more of a fun, playful, videos that you can kind of scroll through. It's not so much used as for a company and a brand.
Yes. Instagram has been growing. I think it's the biggest social media platform it's like 18 to 24, and it's growing in terms of older demographics. The big piece that I think is most important is that people go to Facebook to talk to their friends, people go to Instagram to shop. And that's a huge important thing to note in terms of being a business. And having a presence on Instagram as a business is really, really important because consistently across research that's been done is Facebook has a vastly larger number of people. They're typically it's far less people in the United States and far less people that are going there to shop. They're going there to talk with their friends. They're going there to, chit chat and reconnect. Whereas Instagram people are looking up brands. They're sharing information about brands that they found and they liked. As Lisa mentioned earlier, your Instagram, your business Instagram is your business card. If I say, oh, I found this flower shop, they're so great. The first thing I will do is look up their Instagram. And that will be a determining factor for me as to whether or not I want to pursue anything further. And so it's important as a business to have a presence there.
Yeah, and just another helpful little tip is Facebook changed their algorithm. And Facebook, if you're a business and you're trying to get people to see posts that you're posting, good luck.
Yeah.
They want you to pay ad dollars to get it in front of the majority of the people. And Now, Facebook, it's best to use groups rather than, it is important to have a Facebook page, but if you're posting constantly and you see, oh, wow, only 3 people like this or only 3 people saw it, it's because Facebook wants you to throw money at them. And Instagram, now their algorithm is constantly changing, but it works very differently than Facebook. It's nice if you have ad dollars that you can, throw at a Instagram ad that you want to do, but you don't have to. And so those are really the key differences when using both of the platforms.
Yeah, that's a very good point. There are companies that have tens of thousands of followers on Facebook, but posts will only get a handful of likes, and it's because Facebook is a pay to play platform.
Exactly.
Let's see. We have can you talk a little about hashtags and how best to use them?
Sure. So hashtags are great, and you can post up to 30 hashtags when you're posting a post. And you want to use a mix. You want to use ones that are very popular, and then you want to use ones that you've researched and that might, there might only be 11,000 people that have used the hashtag or 11,000 posts. And it's always good to do research on them. Look at, if you're a clothing company, look at your competitors and see what hashtags they're using and do research behind them. You can figure out how, if you go to a hashtag and it has like 500 million uses of that hashtag, well, your post might not be seen in that hashtag. But if you use something that has maybe 10,000, well, then when someone goes to that hashtag, the chances of your post being present on that hashtag page is pretty high. And so I would just do the research. There are great applications for posting content. We use something called Planula, and you can actually, once you've done all the research, you can go into Planula, and it's Planoly. You can go into Planula and you can save a bunch of different hashtags. You can save groups of hashtags, which is really great because I'm not going to go and type in 30 hashtags every time I'm posting something. But if you say groups of them, sometimes it's when we're posting on our different parties, sometimes there's different groups of hashtags that we want to use, and we just copy, paste, and post them in. So that's another really good tool.
And just another way to get more followers is to spend time on Instagram and to comment and to engage and to like and to just, block out time a day, spend an hour a day just on the platform being active. Make people see your name out there, not just through advertising your business, but through supporting other businesses.
Definitely. And that's actually a good tip that I just thought of, is that when you're posting on Instagram, you don't just want to sell. You want it to be a mix. You want to sell, maybe you want to educate, maybe it's fun and lighthearted, still, being on brand. But what happens is there's some companies where every time you go, it's like this hard sell. And some people don't want to see that all the time. Some people are looking for, information or to be inspired. So having a mix, if you're looking at your next 9 posts, you can say, okay, this one is going to be, I'm selling something. This is going to be fun. This is going to be inspirational. This is going to be, I'm going to, provide information on something. And so it's just nice to have a mix.
So we had a great question, which is how often should you change content? And this is something that having a business Facebook account as well as a tool like Planula, or another one is Hootsuite, is you have to play around with it and see what people respond to. Your audience will like certain things better. There's analytics associated. If you already have a business Instagram account, you can look and see how well different posts perform. It'll perform differently depending on the time of the day you post it, the day of the week that you post it. And you can look at this information. It is trial and error. And you can see when your audience is most active, the kind of posts that they like more. Certain audiences like people more than they like products, or they don't want a face in a picture, or you'll get an idea of the personality of your Instagram audience and learn how to cater your content to them. But it's a whole lot of testing and trial and error.
Yes, definitely. And it's, sometimes we'll post things and it, won't get as many likes. And then sometimes we'll post a picture of Casey and I, and people love it. So it's just kind of figuring out what people like. And the thing with Planula that's really, really good is you can see what your grid is going to look like up to however many posts that you pre-plan, and you can move them around. And so you can take a step back and be like, is this aesthetically pleasing? Is this, telling the story that I want to tell? And it's really good because you don't know that until you see it in front of your eyes, versus just posting one-off Instagram posts.
Yes. And also be conscious of what you like on your Instagram. Think about, like, I know I get irritated if I feel like I'm being spammed by an account or things like that. Think about what you like. And the time of day is super important to who your customer is. If you are catering to business people, don't post at 2 p.m. when everybody is in a meeting. Those kinds of things are very important.
Right. And Planula, just like Instagram for businesses, Planula has analytics as well. And they can also tell you kind of the best time of day, where your audience is, when you should be posting, when those people are typically on and using the Instagram account. So yeah, it's kind of just diving into those lovely analytics.
And so we had another question, maybe you know this, I don't know this, is can you post straight from a Dropbox app on Instagram TV?
That I am not sure. I know that a lot of what you can do is when you go to post something on Instagram, you still have to go through the Instagram account. But I believe you would have had to save whatever file is on Dropbox to your photo library in order for it to pick up.
Yeah, I'm not certain on that. Is Planula free? They have a free version.
Yes.
But it is like you can have a version for it's like $10 a month, or it's minimally.
Yeah. Basically, the more, I think it's like $7 or $8 a month if you get the next upgrade. And what that does is it provides more analytics. It gives you the ability to also post automatically to Facebook. And what's really cool is they actually just introduced Pinterest on Planula, which is another great tool. You can pre-plan all your pins and have them all direct post through the app, and then that's an additional fee. But there is a free version, but you don't get all the tools that you would get for, I believe, the next upgrade, which is like $7 or $8.
Yeah. And the one thing that I like about it is we sit down and can plan out our social and don't have to worry about manually doing it.
Right. You've just planned for 3 weeks and then it's done. And because it takes a lot of time if you're really trying to figure out what you want to post, it's really helpful to just, okay, I'm sitting here for 6 hours and I'm getting these out for the next 3 weeks and don't have to think about it again.
Yes. Because social media can be, and I'm sure as everyone here knows, can be incredibly time consuming.
Yes. And we know that too. And sometimes we need Instagram breaks and social media breaks because it's a lot. So any tool that you can get, it is really, really helpful.
Okay, well, we have just a couple minutes left if there's any other questions. Otherwise.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining. I hope this was it was good and it provided some information. I'm just going to drop our website in the chat. If anyone has any questions, our email, that's our website. This is our email. If anyone has any questions or wants to follow up, we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, we hope everyone has a great rest of their Tuesday.
All right, Casey and Lisa, thank you so much for being here this morning. We appreciate it, and great webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.